Last time on Shadow Piece, the encounter between two brothers has begun. Loki, the Prince of Elbaf, who despite everyone's pleas decided to betray Elbaf to fulfill his own dream, and thus started working together with Blackbeard. And Hyrdine, who threw away his pride when he became a subordinate of the Strawhat Pirates, as he understood that being overly prideful wouldn't lead him to become the most powerful giant there ever was. With them are the new giant warrior pirates on the side of the Sin of Pride, and the 7 Lokis from parallel worlds of the Loki from our shadowy universe. After a quarrel between brothers about Loki's obsession about a brother named Thor that never even existed, they finally came to the conclusion that there was no other way than to fight to resolve this conflict. The sky above Hachinosu churned with black, swelling clouds, lightning arcing across the heavens in jagged veins. The ocean was a cauldron, waves crashing against the fractured cliffs and skull-shaped rock formation that had given the island its notorious name. The stench of gunpowder, blood and salt was so thick in the air it was like breathing in war itself. In the heart of the chaos, the ground trembled. Each impact, each collision of giants ripped through the stone streets and toppled entire buildings like toy blocks. The Blackbeard Pirates' territory had become a battlefield between two monstrous forces, the new giant warrior pirates, members of the Fleet of Death, and the Lokis, each one a nightmare pulled from a different reality. The first roar came from Hyrdine. Loki! His voice was a cannon blast across the island. The ground under his feet cratered as he lunged forward, his massive frame blurring for an instant, his untrained conqueror's haki leaking out in wild erratic waves. Several weaker pirates nearby collapsed instantly, eyes rolling back as foam hit their lips. From the opposite side of the Shattered Plaza, War God Loki answered with a savage grin, raising his colossal axe overhead. "You'll find I'm not the same Loki you know, boy." The two met in a shockwave that shattered the cobblestone beneath them, thinning shards flying into the air like shrapnel. Advanced armament clashed against raw, ancient giant strength, black lightning dancing between their blows. Hyrdine's fist hammered against the axe haft, every strike splitting the air. The nearby buildings shook as though in the grip of an earthquake, while titans clashed at the center. Here was Ori moving as well, his crimson blade tear-fin gleaming ominously. His eyes were locked on bounty hunter Loki, who smirked as if sensing the same itch for a swordsman's duel. "You've got spirit," the bounty hunter said, vanishing in a burst of speed so fast the rain itself seemed frozen around him. Tyr's blade swung on instinct. Clang! Sparks burst between their weapons, both fighters moving too fast for the watching pirates to follow. Steel hissed through the air again and again, every exchange slicing through walls, snapping wooden beams, and carving deep grooves into the stone streets. Each time their blades met, the shockwaves peeled tiles from rooftops and blasted glass from the windows. Stanson had found his mark on Cannon Loki, the one of the warhammer known as the Ragnarok, the one that got inspired by Roxy Sebek. The two weapons met with a thunderous crack, the ground spider-webbing beneath their feet. "You're strong," Cannon Loki growled, his hammer pressing forward. Stanson bared his teeth and shoved back, the veins in his neck bulging. "I'll show you giant craftsmanship in action. Don't you dare underestimate me." With a twist of his hips, he brought his massive hammer down, striking so hard that the earth rippled outward like water. Debris shot up into the air, smashing into nearby buildings, sending unlucky pirates tumbling through collapsing walls. At the far end of the battlefield, the eerie calm of Sniper King Loki was deceptive. From atop a ruined watchtower, his rifle gleamed. He twisted the ground below using the shift route, bending the firing angle in ways that made his shots near impossible to predict. His scope locked briefly on Goldberg. The giant cook had his shield raised, the living homie from Big Mom growling in its strange human-like voice. "Left incoming!" Goldberg turned his shield just in time. Bang! The bullet struck with enough force to crack the street behind him, despite the block. His eyes hardened, the usual warmth gone. "You hurt my family, and I'll make sure you regret it." With a bellow he leapt, each landing shaking the ground, moving towards the sniper in bounding strides. Road, the quick-draw master, darted through the chaos like a streak of steel. His katana's sheath flashed as he unsheathed and resheathed in a single breath, sending arcs of blackened steel slashing across the battlefield. His target was Marine Fleet Admiral Loki, who uses his shift root powers to pull Road into melee range instantly. "Protective measures activated." Admiral Loki's fists blurred, each strike wrapped in advanced armament, redirecting Rhodes' swings with pinpoint control. Every time Rhodes' blade was inches from flesh, the ground beneath them twisted, it changed, distance changed, and the strike cut only air. "You're infuriating," Rhodes spat, drawing again in a lightning arc. In another quarter of the battlefield, Gerd clashed with female Loki. The Doctor's giant axe roared through the air, tearing trenches in the stone streets with each swing. Female Loki spun her quarterstaff like a cyclone. The material it was made out of was a poneglyph, and its surface glowing faintly with haki-infused strikes. "You give orders like a captain," female Loki remarked, deflecting a blow that cracked the earth easily. "Somebody has to lead the rest of those idiots when our captain is busy punching the skulls of enemies in." Gerd snarled. She drove her knee forward, catching Loki off guard and knocking her into a half-toppled bell tower. The structure groaned and then collapsed entirely, dust swallowing the fighters. Prince Loki was moving along the periphery, warping the terrain to disorient the enemy giants. With a single gesture, the ground beneath Tyr rose sharply, throwing the swordsman into the path of the ultimate warrior, Loki. The behemoth grinned, his muscles writhing under his skin like living steel. "Finally, someone worth crushing!" His palm struck Tyr's blade with such force the crimson steel rang like a gong, the impact sending the young swordsman skidding back, tearing twin trenches into the street. Tyr roared and charged again, only to be met with a brutal knee to the gut that sent him airborne, straight through the second story of a tavern, which exploded outward in a storm of splinters. The battlefield was a symphony of ruin. Cannon fire from distant ships hammered the coastline, their shots sometimes slamming into friend and foe alike. The once lively gathering places of Hachinosu were gone, crushed into rubble, splattered with blood, littered with broken weapons, and also broken people. Smoke curled from burning buildings, and the screams of ordinary pirates fleeing the carnage were drowned beneath the roars of the combatants. Above it all, lightning flashed again, illuminating the colossal forms of the new giant warrior pirates and all of the Lokis, each of them locked in combat. Each blow of their fists or weapons, creating a concussive blast that sent stone and steel flying, and yet, neither side showed any sign of giving ground. The air was thick with the scent of sweat, rain, and blood, and the ground itself seemed ready to collapse under the weight of the war. Somewhere deep inside the chaos, the tide of battle was about to shift, but for now, the storm raged on. And this is the end of today's episode of Shadow Piece. I hope you did enjoy it. We are now getting, last week we did start, but last week it was more of a verbal combat session between Hyrodine and Prince Loki. But now we have all of these other Lokis here, and all of them fighting against the new giant warrior pirates. I am trying it out a bit differently here. Instead of having different episodes for each and all of the fights between these pirates, I will have it all in one thing. Jumping from one fight to the other, taking a look at everything happening here. This is a group battle. They're all in it together. They're all helping each other out when it comes. And they are finding any opportunity ever to fight. And also, I'm just saying this here in case you maybe didn't realize what I meant by that. When I said canon Loki, I actually meant the Loki from the story we know right now in the Elbaf arc. So yes, the guy with the bandages over his eyes, the ancient giant, he's wielding that hammer, and who is right now being freed by Luffy. So yeah, that guy. I hope you look forward to future parts of this story. But for now, that's all from me for today. All that to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro out. Bye.